guys, I see some excited and inquisitive faces eagerly waiting to learn more about no limit hold'em format of poker. Well, I'm also really excited to start this video on basic pre-flop action as we are entering the game mode now. But before we do that, let's quickly revise the concept of button, small blind, and big blind. Starting with button or dealer. The whole game always moves around the button or dealer in the clockwise direction. Next, the player on the left of the dealer is called the small blind, and the player on the left of the small blind, that is the second player on the left of the dealer, is called the big blind. Well, even before the whole cards are dealt on the table, these two players, that is the small blind and the big blind, have to place a compulsory bet on the table. And these compulsory bets are called blinds. And the blinds define the stake of a particular table. So far, so good? Perfect. Let's get into the next step now. Now, once the small blind and big blind place their compulsory bets, the whole cards are dealt to each player starting from the small blind. It's time to test your memory now. What is the first stage of the game after the whole cards are dealt? Did I hear pre-flop betting? Correct. That's exactly what we do next. And we do that to see the flop. That's the first three cards on the board. Remember flop, turn, river? The three most important terms of poker? Now, since the small and the big blind have already posted compulsory bets, the action starts with the next player in line, sitting on the left of the big blind. Now, once the player has seen his or her whole cards, he can act in four different ways. He can either fold, call, raise, or go all in. No, I see some frowning eyebrows there. Don't worry, I'm going to explain to you each of these terms. So let's begin with fold. Well, if you don't have good cards, then what do? You would want to quit, right? The option to quit is called fold. The next option you have is to call. Now, after seeing your cards, if you want to play, then you need to place a bet. And the amount of this bet has to be the same as the compulsory bet placed by the big blind. And this action of matching the bet of the big blind is called as call. Now, if you think your whole cards are good, then you can raise. Now, what is raise? It means placing a bigger bet than the big blind's compulsory bet. And if you're raising, it has to be at least double than big blind's bet. Now, it's time to tell you why no limit hold'em is called no limit. And the reason for that is there is no upper limit to the amount that you can raise your bet to. And that's why this game is called no limit hold'em poker. Now, this also leads us to our next option, which is all in. But before you get there, I want to tell you something else. What if you're not immediately after the big blind and someone has raised before you and now it's your turn to act? Well, in that case, you can either fold, that is quit, or you can call. And now in this case, when you want to call, you have to match your bet with the raised amount of the player before you. Now let me simplify this with an example. Say the small blind is 10 chips. That means the big blind is 20 chips. Now, if before your turn comes, someone raises to 40 chips, then on your turn, if you want to call, then you have to match your bet to 40 chips. Well, I hope that leaves no confusion there. And if you feel you have very good cards, then in this situation, you can raise further too. And this action is known as re-raise. But when and how to do that is something that we are going to address at a later stage. For now, let's move on to the next option. That is all in. Now, when you see your whole cards, then you also have the option to go all in. But what does that mean? That means you can place all your chips as a bet. And once again, this is why this game is called no limit hold'em poker. And once all the players who want to continue playing with their whole cards have matched their bets, everyone's bet is collected together. And this collective amount is called the pot. Now we open the flop And this concludes the first round of pre-flop round of betting. Now, you must be wondering what happens if none of the players call or match after you have placed a bet and everyone folds. Well, in that case, you win the hand even without seeing the flop. So, in this video, we discussed that to see the flop, we need to bet in the pre-flop round of betting. And you can either fold or quit, call or match your bet with the bet of the players before you, raise by betting at least double the big blind or more, or you can go all in. That is, put all your chips in the pot. So, do you know what happens when the flop is opened? Well, we get into the post-flop rounds of betting. And that's exactly what we're going to learn in our next video. And I would recommend that you watch this video once again, make some notes before you join me in the next video to learn about post-flop betting. And I will be waiting for you there. So see you soon.